The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live.
Greetings, my fellow warriors, boy Meckanimal, and today we're going to learn how to Australian pull. The Australian pull-up, also known as the body roll, is an exercise that's used to target the mid-back and the traps as much as possible. I mean the mid-traps and all the rhomboid and the musculature around the midsection of your back. And when you first start calisthenics, people are told that you have to start with the Australian pull to progress to the regular pull-up, which makes most people overlook the Australian pull-up as a main exercise. This is the mistake I've done when I started calisthenics, and I will urge you guys not to make the same mistake. I would like you guys to treat as important as possible the Australian pull-up as much as the pull-up. Once I start calisthenics, I was already able to do like 2-3 pull-ups, so I felt not needed to work on my Australian pull-up, which led me to overwork the pulling, and then I was lacking in the rowing part of the body capability. So this is a mistake I've done, and so please don't make the same mistake that I've done. Good thing over the years I've picked up onto it, and I right the wrongs that I made at the beginning of my training journey. So the Australian pull-up is a horizontal pulling movement that will help you target the mid-back and any musculature involved in the row, the real delt and every good stuff that come with it. And what people are not told when they start is that the Australian pull-up has its own progression to very intense rowing movements that you can use in calisthenics as well. That has nothing to do with the vertical movement. And if you think about it, the rowing movement progression end up being really hard, because you end up having to face the front lever pull-ups and stuff like that, which is heavy amount of load, and a lot of time will require you to work on the skill before you can use those. But until then, you can always use the body roll and use a weighted vest to increase the intensity of it by the time you're able to unlock the skill that lets you take it to the next level progression. So without further ado, let's get to the movement itself. So you're gonna have the ring always set on the lower part of the body. I like to use the hip level because it's kind of halfway in between the top and the bottom. It doesn't have to be at the hip level. The important thing to remember is that it has to be set in a way that whenever your arms are fully extended, you are really close to the bottom. Your shoulders are close to the bottom of the floor, because the more you are close to the bottom of the floor, the better intensity you will have, the better load you will be able to apply to your upper body. And conversely, as you rise up from the floor, it will be much easier. And once you get back to the floor, that's the neutral intensity. And as your feet rise from the floor again on the other end, you load up even more of the weight. So that's something to remember. The height of the ring doesn't have to be at your hip level, but hip level is something that I use as a standard for people to have somewhere to start with. Eventually you will want to start with maybe if the hip level is too high for you, it happens to be too easy, feel free to lower up the ring so that whenever you extend your arm, your shoulders are really close to the floor. The closer you are to the floor, the better intensity you'll be able to apply to the movement. So for this demonstration, I put the ring as low as the strap allowed me to do so. So it's pretty much somewhere around the top of my hip level, in my hip. Not quite the middle of the hip, but on top of the hip. So we're gonna use that for the demonstration. So you first start by getting close and grabbing the rings, okay? Now that the rings are set, I would like you guys to grab it and then slide down. So here, for once, I would not suggest you to have a neutral grip. It's fine to have, to have a false grip. It's fine to have a normal grip, okay? So normal grip, hang in there. Tighten up your glute always. Legs, heels to heels. Squeeze, tighten up your quads.
And then before you engage the movement, you want to pull your shoulder blade back and then depress them. So you have the retraction and depression, or it could be a depression and retraction. It doesn't really matter. Either way, I want you to retract and depress your back, and from that position, I want you to pull as high as you can and back down. As high as you can and back down. Retract and depress as high as you can and back down. So as you can see, always pull and drop, pull and drop, retract and depress, and then you pull yourself. As far as the ring position, it's up to you. You can pull it in a neutral position, the ring in a neutral position, or you can have the ring in a pronated position. It's up to you, depending on what your training goals are. For the moment, you set those you set the version of the grip that you want to work on. But as a beginner, I guess it's easier to start with the neutral grip here. It makes you come much higher than this. Okay, so you are very limited to how much higher you can get using the pronated grip as opposed to the neutral grip. And in terms of supination, personally, I have not found a use for it. Main reason why is if you were to progress to any advanced movement of body weight in gymnastics, no movement is performed in that horizontal position with a neutral grip. So it's a grip that I don't find that useful. But like I said, it's all depending on your goal. If you have something that specifically requires you to have this grip and you need to work your muscle in a horizontal position for a specific transfer, and you need a specific training effect for a next phase of your programming, then feel free to do it with a neutral. But as in general rule, feel free to do in supinated. But as a general rule, neutral or pronated. So that's that. So again, down, normal grip there on the ring, slide down, retract, depress, up as high as possible. As high as possible. Oh, this. So relaxing the movement, the shoulder blade at the bottom depend also on your training goals. If you practicing the retraction and depression movement itself, I would suggest you to probably relax it and re-engage it. But if you're already accustomed to how to engage your back, keep the shoulder blades tight and then keep rolling the movement. So again, it all depends. But for a beginner, if you want to put the perfect practice, make perfect, and the more you practice, the better you get at it, I'll suggest you just rehearse the movement by re-engaging your back at all time and pull, relax, re-engage your back at all time and pull. And if I had something to put my feet up, maybe here, could show something. See right here from this position, I have more load on my back by putting my feet a little higher. That may be a subject for a different video. For now, we're just going to learn how to perform the Australian pull-up. Very good exercise. Like I said, never underestimate the movement. Consider that as a primary movement. Don't relegate it to a secondary movement after the pull-up itself. Don't make the same mistake, please. I'm gonna mention that again. That's a mistake I did. I kind of paid the price, but better late than never. I was able to right the wrongs. But for you, you don't have to make the same mistake. The rolls, the body roll, or the Australian pull-up, very important movement. It's gonna help you a lot through your journey. Hope the tutorial was useful. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what kind of topic you would like me to address in the future. And like I said, Like doesn't mean that you necessarily liked or enjoyed it. It means you appreciate the support. I keep the content coming and help with the algorithm. So that said, subscribe. Everything is and will always be the Meckanimal way. Salute. Back and back. Body by Calisthenics, and later on a little bit of barbell. Yeah, but mainly calisthenics. Never forget that. People tend to forget that my primary means of conditioning was calisthenics at the beginning before I started mixing with some barbell movement. Always the love for calisthenics. Peace.
The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live.